Hello guys, it's Mr. Tech Reviews 101, and today my Kodak Playtouch Zi10 turns 1 year old. Now in the year of usage, as you can see, it still holds off pretty well. It looks kind of sleekish like a cell phone. It was very disguisable in the past year. However, during the first month of using, I was screwing the tripod mount in the bottom. As you can see, I had to re-glue it several times over the past year until now, because I learned the technique of how to get the tripod screwing thing, because I really didn't know anything about it before. But anyways, it broke because I screwed it in too tight back in January 2011. So this camera is 1 year old. Now let's go over the full facts about this camera. So it takes 1080p with 5 megapixel stills, right? It's now being sold for about $100. The one thing I would say that this camera does do well for the 1080p setting is that it takes 16.5 megabyte per second video, which is the best type of video for a budget camcorder that's under $100, unlike my PlaySport that only does like 10 megabytes per second to at least 16 megabytes per second, but that's the highest the PlaySport can go. But back to the Playtouch, right? So let's go over the settings on this particular camera, right? You have 1080p, 720p 60, 720p in WVGA. Now, the only thing I don't like about this camera is that when you go to the 720p 60, is that it's very choppy in some areas. Like with low light, it really does not look accurate, and also sometimes in the 720p setting it looks very blurry. Like I notice it adds like scribbled lines sometimes, like with details. It's kind of like very scrabbly looking, and it really looks ugly. It almost looks like it's WVGA, not 720p in some settings. For 720p. However, with the 1080p, that's the best setting on this camera, of course, and that's the setting I'd recommend you use. Now, if you're new to this camera, if you got it like I don't know, last month or even this month, and you saw it on TV and you're like, hey, this is a pretty cool camera to get, I'd say take good care of it. The one thing I've also noticed this past year of usage is that the touchscreen has gotten terrible. The touchscreen has gotten very terrible. I had to skip that cut real quick. Somebody was coming in. Anyway, because as you can see, when you press on it, it is fairly accurate, but as you can see, the touchscreen is just going all over the place, and it's not really sticking up to it. Like you could click on this video and won't play, because the touchscreen has gotten increasingly weaker over the past year. As you can see, it's not playing, it's not doing that. You can delete it, then you have to flip it over like that, and then it'll start to work. But it's gotten weaker over the past year. I really started to notice that in July this past year. So yeah. So I would give the touchscreen a 3.0 out of 5 for the first 3 months, and right now it's very bad. However, it still records the good 1080p. I hope it keeps it up. So let's go over the effects on it. It takes high saturation, right? The usual effects. 70s film. 70s film. As you can see, it's recording. It takes black and white and sepia. Black and white. Oops. So you can see the touchscreen is getting pretty bad. And sepia. Now with this particular camera, it does not have autofocus, but it has a little switch here. You can see that on the camera. So you can see you can switch it to macro mode, and it has a little icon right here. Lets you know it's in macro mode, and you can switch it back, and the little flower goes off the screen. Now, yeah, that's pretty much it to the camera. The other thing I would recommend that you do not do on this particular camera is share. Because what they don't tell you in the share app is that when it syncs it to the internet and it uploads it, depending on what account you have, is that it syncs it to your computer and eats up most of your computer space. I had to delete most of the videos I put to my computer and put it onto my hard drive because it synced all of the videos to the computer, and it like ate up like 6 gigabytes. So that right there was an epic fail to the share app there, I would say. And yeah, you can change your languages: English, French, Dutch, Spanish, Italian, and lots of languages for this particular camera, which is very, very good. Some of these settings I didn't even know were on here just until now. You can change the date. Oops, go back. And I don't think it's going to go back there. There you go. Yeah, the touchscreen is worse. I said it already. It has an LCD glare feature, which like if you're in bright sunlight, it can it does what it's supposed to do. It will block the glareness of from the rays and all that. The LCD brightness to change how bright it is, the sounds in LED, and also with this particular camera you have the microphone gain like you do in the PlaySport. But what's different about this camera is that it has a microphone input as well as a headphone input, which a lot of cameras, budget cameras, don't have that much yet. I really wouldn't recommend using safe mode because it really limits the camera's abilities. You can't click on everything, see video output date and time. You can't do that, and it only goes to about, and it's just not good, and you can't share anything. Not saying that you would want to. So enough with the chitter chatter. I've told you about the camera now. Let's get down to the details on the camera. Now it comes with a regular sized mini HDMI cord, which you can easily plug in to your TV. However, I would not recommend, especially if you have it and it has a weak touchscreen, I would not recommend you use the HDMI. It's very bad. It has a built-in USB arm, which the PlaySport does not have. The Samsung W200 has. And also that camera takes, the Samsung W200 takes 17.5 megabyte per second 1080p, which is just about as good as this camera. The SD slot, where you can put your SD card in, and let's get back in, thank you. Yeah, the speaker and the center button. So this is the Kodak Playtouch 1 year later. I'm going to show you some footage over the past year. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I'll be doing more reviews soon. I've been very busy, so I haven't been having time to respond to comments and taking newer videos, because I've been actually working on videos. So yeah, that's pretty much it to the camera. On the front, this past year I've been getting a lot of compliments on this camera. It does look extremely like a cell phone. Like if you were to hold it back off far enough, it looks very much like a cell phone. It down to the very depths of how the camera is shaped. But I told him no, it's a camera, and it has the Kodak sign right there and a Playtouch. So far, since I re-glued the tripod socket mount, it's been doing very good, especially since I was able to put it on a really ruggedy, bouncy cart that it actually didn't fall off. It actually kept up its balance since I re-glued it. Okay, so that's the full review. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to show you some past footage over this past year and more, and there is also more to come, so enjoy the footage. I've got to go now. See you later.